I was 400 pounds. My husband of 25 years left me for a woman half my age and half my size. I remember the day he told me. We were in the kitchen. It was a Tuesday morning. I had just made him breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee, just like I did every single morning for 25 years. He sat down at the table and he didn't eat. He just looked at me, and I knew. I could feel it coming. I could feel the words before he even said them. He said, "I can't do this anymore. I need to be with someone who takes care of herself." Those words destroyed me, not because he was wrong, but because I believed he was right. I believed that my weight made me unlovable. I believed that I deserved to be abandoned. I believed that this was my punishment for letting myself go. I remember standing there in my kitchen, holding the spatula, and feeling my entire world collapse. 25 years of marriage, 25 years of being his wife, his partner, his support system. And it all came down to that one sentence. I need to be with someone who takes care of herself. He didn't say he didn't love me. He didn't say our marriage was broken. He just said that he needed someone who looked different. Someone who was thinner, someone who was younger, someone who wasn't me. And for the first time in 25 years, I was alone. My kids were grown. They had their own lives, their own families. My husband was gone. He had moved in with her. She was 28 years old. She was a yoga instructor, had a flat stomach and long legs and everything. I wasn't. My purpose was gone. I had spent my entire adult life being a wife and a mother, and now I was neither. I was just a 400-pound woman sitting in an empty house, wondering if there was any reason to keep living. I remember the first night, alone. I sat on the couch and I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't read. I didn't do anything. I just sat there in the dark and I thought about ending it all. I thought about how easy it would be to just take all the pills in the medicine cabinet and go to sleep and never wake up. I thought about how nobody would even miss me. My husband had already replaced me. My kids had their own lives. Nobody needed me. Nobody wanted me. I was just taking up space in the world. But here's what happened next. Something shifted. Not because I suddenly decided to lose weight or win him back, but because I finally asked myself a different question. I didn't ask, how do I get my husband back? I asked, why did I accept this treatment in the first place? And that question opened a door I didn't even know existed, because what I discovered was this. His betrayal wasn't about me being fat. His betrayal was about me being asleep. I had spent 25 years making myself smaller, not just physically, but spiritually. I had shrunk my voice. I had shrunk my dreams. I had shrunk my power. I had become invisible. And he left because he could sense that I was already gone. I had already abandoned myself, was just making it official. But here's the beautiful part. His leaving was actually the universe saying, wake up. It's time to remember who you really are. And when I finally woke up, everything changed. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, and I'm going to show you how your pain, your rejection, your abandonment might actually be the universe's way of calling you home to yourself. This is not a story about losing weight. This is a story about finding yourself. This is a story about how your greatest wound can become your greatest gift. Let's begin. The day he left, I didn't cry. I was too numb to cry. I just sat on the couch and stared at nothing. My daughter came over that evening and found me like that. She said, "Mom, we need to get you help." But I didn't want help. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to stop existing, because in my mind, if my own husband didn't want me, why would anyone else? If the person who promised to love me forever decided I wasn't worth loving, then what was the point? I spent 3 months in that house, barely eating, barely moving, barely living. I gained another 20 pounds from stress and depression. I was spiraling. I was dying, not physically, but spiritually. I was becoming a ghost. I would wake up in the morning, and for a split second, I would forget what had happened, and then I would remember, and the pain would hit me all over again, like finding out for the first time. Every single morning, I stopped showering. I stopped changing my clothes. I stopped leaving the house. I would sit on that same couch from morning until night, just staring at the wall. My daughter would come over and try to talk to me, but I couldn't hear her. It was like I was underwater, like I was drowning, and nobody could reach me. I remember one day she said, "Mom, you're scaring me. Please talk to me." And I looked at her and I said, "Your father left me for someone younger and thinner. What does that tell you about me?" And she started crying. She said, "Mom, it tells me nothing about you. It tells me something about him." But I didn't believe her. I couldn't believe her, because I had already decided that I was unlovable. I had already decided that I was broken. I had already decided that I deserved this. And then one day, something happened that changed everything. My sister came to visit me. She hadn't seen me in months. When she walked in and saw me, she started crying, not because of how I looked, but because she could feel how broken I was. She could see that I was dying, not physically, but spiritually. She sat down next to me and she said something I will never forget. She said, Your husband didn't leave because you're fat. He left because you forgot who you are, and the universe is giving you a chance to remember. At first, I was angry. I thought she was blaming me. I thought she was saying it was my fault. But then she explained something to me that changed my entire life. She said, when you love yourself, when you truly believe you're worthy, when you vibrate at the frequency of self-love, you don't accept abandonment. You don't accept betrayal. You don't accept being treated like you're invisible. You would have left him first, or he never would have had the courage to leave you in the first place. Because people treat you the way you treat yourself. People love you the way you love yourself. People respect you the way you respect yourself. Your husband didn't leave you because you gained weight. He left you because you were broadcasting to the entire universe that you weren't worthy of being loved. And he was just responding to that frequency. And in that moment, something clicked. I realized that my weight wasn't the problem. My lack of self-worth was the problem. I had been broadcasting to the universe, I'm not worthy. I'm not valuable. I'm not enough. And the universe responded by bringing me people and situations that matched that frequency. My husband didn't betray me because I was fat. He betrayed me because I was broadcasting unworthiness, and he was reflecting back to me what I already believed about myself. This is the law of resonance. This is quantum physics, and once I understood it, I could never go back. Your body is a mirror of your beliefs. This is neuroscience. Your subconscious mind doesn't just control your thoughts, it controls your hormones, your metabolism, your immune system, your entire physiology. When your subconscious believes you're unworthy, your body literally rejects health. When your nervous system is programmed with shame, your body holds on to weight as armor and protection. Your body is saying, if I'm big enough, if I'm visible enough, maybe people will finally see me. Maybe people will finally love me. But that's the opposite of what happens. Because when you broadcast shame and unworthiness, people feel that frequency, and they respond by treating you as shameful and unworthy. This is not punishment. This is resonance. This is the laws of physics. But here's what most people don't understand. Your body also attracts people and situations that match your frequency. If you're vibrating at the frequency of unworthiness, you attract people who will treat you as unworthy. If you're broadcasting abandonment, you attract abandonment. If you're screaming, I'm not enough, people will show you that you're not enough. This is not punishment from God or the universe. This is the law of attraction. This is resonance. This is how energy works. For 25 years, I had been vibrating at the frequency of I'm not enough for my husband. I had been saying it with my body language. I had been saying it with my words. I had been saying it with my choices. I had been choosing him over myself. I had been shrinking myself to fit into his vision of who I should be. And he responded by leaving me. He was literally the universe's way of showing me my own belief. He was a mirror, and once I understood that, I could finally stop blaming him, and I could start taking responsibility for my own frequency. Because if my frequency attracted him leaving, then changing my frequency could attract something completely different, and that's exactly what happened. But first, I had to understand something crucial. I had to understand that changing my frequency wasn't about changing my body, it was about changing my beliefs. And once I changed my beliefs, my body would follow naturally. Because your body is just the physical manifestation of your beliefs. Your body is just evidence of what you believe about yourself. So if I wanted to change my body, I first had to change my mind. I first had to change my frequency. I first had to change what I believed about myself. The first thing I did was stop trying to lose weight. I know that sounds crazy, but I realized that every diet I had ever done came from a place of self-rejection. I was eating salads to punish myself for being fat. I was exercising to punish myself for being lazy. I was restricting calories to punish myself for being weak. Everything I did came from the belief that my body was the enemy, that my body was the problem, that I needed to war against my body to be worthy. But that's the opposite of how transformation actually works. Transformation comes from self-love, not self-rejection. So I stopped all the diets, I stopped all the punishment, and I started doing something completely different. I started treating my body like it was someone I love. I remember the first time I did this, I was standing in front of the mirror, and instead of criticizing my body, I said to myself, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for hating you. I'm sorry for punishing you. I'm sorry for treating you like you're the enemy. I'm sorry for not loving you. I see you now, and I love you. And I started crying because I realized that I had spent 40 years at war with my own body. I had spent 40 years treating my body like it was my enemy, and my body had been responding to that hatred by holding on to weight, by holding on to pain, by holding on to trauma. Because your body holds on to everything you don't process emotionally. Your body is literally storing your pain. So the first step to transformation is to stop the war, to put down the weapons, to make peace with your body. I started asking my body what it needed instead of telling it what it should do. I would wake up in the morning and I would say, Buffy, What do you need today? Do you need rest? Do you need movement? Do you need nourishment? Do you need love? And I would listen, and my body responded. Within weeks, I started naturally eating less, not because I was restricting, but because I was finally listening to my body's actual hunger signals instead of eating from emotional pain. I realized that I had been using food to numb my pain. I had been using food to fill the void. I had been using food to punish myself. So when I stopped punishing myself, I naturally stopped overeating. Within months, I started naturally moving more, not because I was forcing myself to exercise, but because my body wanted to move when it felt loved and cared for. I started taking walks because I wanted to feel the sun on my skin. I started dancing because I wanted to feel joy in my body. I started swimming because I wanted to feel alive, and the weight started coming off slowly, consistently, effortlessly. Because I was finally working with my body instead of against it. Because I was finally loving my body instead of hating it. But here's the thing, the weight loss was almost secondary, because the real transformation was happening inside. I was changing my frequency. I was shifting from I'm unworthy to I am worthy. I was shifting from I deserve to be abandoned to I deserve to be cherished. I was shifting from I'm not enough to I am more than enough. I was shifting from nobody will ever love me to I am worthy of being loved. And as my internal frequency shifted, my entire external reality started to shift. People started treating me differently, not because I looked different, but because I was vibrating differently. I was broadcasting a new frequency. I was saying, I am worthy. I am valuable. I am enough. And the universe responded by bringing me people and opportunities that matched that new frequency. Within a year, I had lost 120 pounds, but more importantly, I had lost the shame. I had lost the self. I had lost the belief that I was unworthy, and I had gained something infinitely more valuable. I had gained myself back. I had remembered who I was before anyone told me who I should be. I had reconnected with my own power. I had reconnected with my own light. I remember the day I looked in the mirror and I didn't see a fat woman anymore. I didn't see a woman who had been abandoned. I didn't see a failure. I saw a woman who had survived. I saw a woman who had transformed. I saw a woman who was powerful, and I started crying. Not tears of sadness, but tears of gratitude, tears of recognition, tears of homecoming, because I had finally come home to myself. I had finally remembered who I was. And then something happened that I never expected. My husband called me. He said he wanted to see me. He said he had made a huge mistake. He said he wanted to come back. He said he still loved me. He said he was sorry. He said the new relationship wasn't working out. He said he realized what he had lost. He said he wanted to give our marriage another chance. And I listened to him, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even happiness, nothing. Because I had finally moved on, not to another person, but to myself. I had finally chosen myself, and once you choose yourself, once you finally love yourself, you can never go back to accepting less. I told him no. I told him that I had spent 25 years making myself smaller for him, and I would never do that again. I told him that I had finally remembered who I was, and who I was didn't need him anymore. I told him that I had learned to love myself the way I had always wanted him to love me, and that I could never accept less than that again. I told him that he was a good man, but he wasn't my man anymore, and he left. And I didn't cry, because I was finally free. For the first time in my life, I was finally free. I was free from needing his validation. I was free from needing anyone's validation. I was free to be myself. I was free to love myself. I was free to live my life on my own terms. But here's the part that most people don't talk about. After I said no to my husband, something magical happened. I started attracting people who actually valued me, not because I looked different, but because I was vibrating differently. I was broadcasting, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am enough. And people who matched that frequency started appearing in my life. I attracted friends who celebrated me, friends who had been waiting for me to love myself so they could love me too. I attracted opportunities that aligned with my purpose. I got a job that I loved, doing work that mattered to me. I attracted love from unexpected places. People started asking me out, not because I was thinner, but because I was glowing, because I was vibrating at the frequency of self-love, and people are attracted to that frequency. People want to be around someone who loves themselves, because when you love yourself, you make everyone around you feel loved too. But most importantly, I attracted love from myself. And that's when I finally understood what the universe was trying to show me all along. My husband's betrayal wasn't a punishment, it was a gift. It was the universe saying, you need to wake up, you need to remember yourself, you need to come home to yourself. His leaving wasn't about me being fat or unlovable. It was about me being asleep, and the universe had to shake me awake. And once I was awake, once I remembered who I really was, everything changed. Not just my body, but my entire life. entire reality, my entire frequency. I went from being a woman who was dying to being a woman who was alive. I went from being invisible to being visible. I went from being broken to being whole. I went from being lost to being found. Now I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying that his betrayal was okay. I'm not saying that what he did was right. What he did was cruel. What he did was wrong. He hurt me deeply. He humiliated me. He abandoned me. Those are facts. But it was also the best thing that ever happened to me because it forced me to finally love myself. It forced me to finally choose myself. It forced me to finally wake up, and that choice changed everything. This is what they mean when they say your greatest wound is your greatest gift. My wound was abandonment. My gift is that I finally learned to never abandon myself again. My wound was rejection. My gift is that I finally learned to accept and love myself unconditionally. My wound was betrayal. My gift is that I finally learned to be loyal to myself first. And this is the real transformation. Not the weight loss, but the awakening. The realization that you are not your body. You are not your past. Are not your pain. You are consciousness. You are frequency. You are infinite potential. And you can change anytime. You can choose yourself anytime. You can wake up anytime. And once you do, nothing in your life will ever be the same because you will finally be vibrating at the frequency of your own worth, and the universe will respond by bringing you everything that matches that frequency. Now, it's your turn, and I want you to hear this clearly. If you're in a situation right now where someone has rejected you, betrayed you, abandoned you, I want you to ask yourself this question. I want you too ask, what is the universe trying to show me? Because sometimes our greatest pain is the universe's way of calling us home to ourselves. Sometimes our deepest wounds are invitations to wake up. Sometimes the people who hurt us the most are actually mirrors showing us where we've been hurting ourselves. So here's what I want you to do starting today. First, stop blaming the other person, not because they're not responsible for their actions, but because blaming them keeps you stuck in victim consciousness. And victim consciousness vibrates at a low frequency. When you blame someone else, you give them your power. You say, you did this to me. You control my life. You control my happiness. But that's a lie. Because nobody controls your frequency but you. Nobody controls your vibration but you. Nobody controls your life but you. So the first step is to take your power back. The first step is to stop blaming and start taking responsibility. Not responsibility for what they did, but responsibility for how you respond to what they did. Responsibility for the beliefs you formed from what they did. Responsibility for the frequency you're broadcasting because of what they did. Second, start asking yourself, what belief about myself attracted this situation? What frequency was I broadcasting? What part of me was asleep? Write down the answer. Be honest. Because you can't change a belief you don't acknowledge. You can't transform a frequency you don't recognize. You have to see it first. You have to acknowledge it first. You have to take responsibility for it first. Third, identify the opposite belief. If your belief was I'm not worthy, the opposite is I am worthy. If your belief was I deserve to be abandoned, the opposite is I deserve to be cherished. If your belief was I'm not enough, the opposite is I am more than enough. Write down that opposite belief. Say it out loud. Feel what it would feel like to believe that about yourself. Fourth, feel the emotion of that opposite belief. Visualization is key here. Visualize yourself as if that new belief is already true, not in some distant future, but right now. See yourself loved, see yourself valued, see yourself cherished, see yourself living a life where you're treated with respect and kindness, and feel the gratitude for having it now. Feel the gratitude as if it's already happened, because gratitude is one of the highest frequencies. Gratitude literally synchronizes your heart and brain. It puts you into a state of coherence, and coherence is where transformation happens. Do this every morning for 21 days, just 5 to 10 minutes, before you get out of bed, while your brain is in theta waves, the frequency where beliefs are installed. Visualize, feel gratitude. Fifth, take daily action that aligns with your new belief. If your new belief is, I am worthy, then treat yourself with kindness. Eat food that nourishes you, not punishes you. Move your body in ways that feel good, not in ways that punish. Speak to yourself with love, not criticism. Surround yourself with people who value you. Set boundaries with people who don't. Say no to things that drain you. Say yes to things that energize you. Small, consistent actions, not extreme punishment, because punishment is just self-rejection in disguise. And self-rejection is what got you into this situation in the first place. So the way out is self-love. The way out is self-acceptance. The way out is choosing yourself. Do this for 21 days and watch what happens. Watch how your frequency shifts. Watch how your reality shifts. Watch how your life shifts. People will start treating you differently. Opportunities will start appearing. Love will start flowing. Not because the universe is rewarding you, but because you're finally vibrating at a frequency that attracts those things. And when you start seeing results, when you start feeling loved, when you start attracting better people and opportunities, I want you to come back to this video and comment below. Tell me what changed, because your story will inspire someone else. Your transformation will give hope to someone who's suffering like you suffered. Frequency will elevate the frequency of this entire community. This is how we change the world, not through force, but through frequency. One person at a time, one belief at a time, one transformation at a time. So, are you ready? Are you ready to stop accepting abandonment? Are you ready to choose yourself? Are you ready to remember who you really are? Are you ready to wake up? Then start today, right now. Before you close this video, identify one belief that's been keeping you stuck. Write it down, and then write down the opposite belief. And tomorrow morning, when you wake up, do the visualization. Close your eyes. See yourself loved. See yourself valued. See yourself worthy. And feel the gratitude. Feel the gratitude as if it's already real, because you are worthy. You always were. You just needed to remember. You just needed to wake up. And now you're awake. And now everything can change. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being brave enough to consider that maybe, just maybe, your greatest pain is actually your greatest gift. Thank you for being open to the possibility that the universe isn't punishing you. It's calling you home to yourself. I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you on the other side of your transformation. With love and gratitude.